Okay, so a few things to go ahead and note, just that way it's understood. Number one, for anybody that wanted to go ahead and try to act like, number one, I'm a cheater. Not the case. Acting like that would be the reason that, all relationships and everything would end up falling apart. Not the case. Ultimately, the real reason, the behind closed doors reason, for the everything going to shit, basically, was the factor that I was with a person that would not be capable, as they clarified, to be capable of controlling their urges in a sexless relationship. Alright? Now, ultimately, potential fertility issues comes along with that. When you have a tumor in your leg that is blocking the blood flow to the entirety of your lower body, which, by the way, I have dealt with this circumstance for a long time, it makes it very, very, very sparse and very sporadic when an erection even happens. Alright? Does it suck? Yes. Is it tolerable? Also yes. Reason why? With the lack of blood flow also comes the lack of endorphins, which means that ultimately I don't get easily aroused. I don't get easily, just ooh, or hey. So ultimately, it would make anybody who feels that they need sex to be a constant and persistent aspect in a relationship to completely want to stay away. On the other hand, for anybody that has basically extreme insecurity issues because they have been screwed over, they've been cheated on, it could also end up going ahead and giving a sense of relief, because it's like, hey, I don't have to worry about this person actually going and cheating on me, because physically they're barely capable of even getting aroused for me. So if they're barely capable of getting aroused for me, they would barely be able to be aroused for anybody else. And unfortunately, when it comes to most people in society, because of how damaged people have gotten by the point of their 30s, they're automatically thinking, understand, if you're in a deadbed situation, that automatically means that you're literally going and getting sex from somewhere else or from someone else. And the answer to that is no, that's not always the case. Sometimes there are legitimate medical reasons to the factor that ends up going ahead and destroying the entirety of your libido. And ultimately, a person has the opportunity or the right to go ahead and decide if the relationship is worth trying to salvage, or ultimately if it's dead in the water. And ultimately, in my end, I ended up seeing it as a circumstance of, alright, you have complaints about the sex issue, you have complaints about the factor of that I'm physically not capable of meeting your desires, apparently. So, and not to mention that, but the amount of personal maintenance that I need to do in order to be able to maintain my mobility, because of the factor that this issue is going to go ahead and cause me to lose my mobility. Once that's taken out, ultimately the leg is going to start rapidly rotting away, which is going to cause from just the tumor getting cut out to the entire leg getting cut out. So, despite the fact that I stayed with them through, their physical therapy. I stayed with them through, their surgery. I stayed with them through all that stuff. I had full understanding with their health issues that they would not have the physical and mental capacity and capability, and whether or not the desire, I don't know, to be able to stick it out and be able to do the same thing for me that I did for them. So ultimately, parting ways was a kindness. All right? It was to go ahead and keep them and spare them from having to go ahead and go through all the struggles that physical impairment was going to end up causing in their life, because of the factor that ultimately, with how tough it was to help them through their physical recovery and recuperation and rehabilitation, and the amount of emotional and psychological stress that ended up having, I had full understanding that they would not have the capability to reciprocate and see it through with me the way that I did with them. All right? I know that's no, big mystery of it all, or, big scandal. No, it boils down to that. And, there, people are allowed to go ahead and say, I can't handle your disability. I can't handle everything that's going to come along with it. I cannot handle the responsibility that is going to come with your physical deterioration. And that's okay. But people need to stop the fucking mockery. People need to stop the smear campaign. People need to stop the fucking gossip. People need to stop the fuck you and the cheers and, who won the divorce? The reality is, nobody fucking wins a divorce. That is a reality that the general entirety of society needs to understand. All right? So it's not one of those circumstances of, if you didn't want to end up, the only way to go ahead and end up in divorce is if you don't go marry and, start new and all that. No. Sometimes it just all boils down to the factor of somebody cannot handle all of the turmoils that you are going to face. So the best thing you can do is understand where the line is drawn of what they're capable of handling and just move along.